Did you know the Bible has special wisdom for the rich and for the poor because the lack of money or having too much of it can have devastating spiritual consequences in your life? Welcome to Wisdom in the Word, where we learn the biblical art of wisdom. Consider this wisdom from the book of Proverbs in chapter 30, where it says, "Two things I ask of you, deny them not to me before I die. Remove far from me falsehood and lying." And then the two things come out, these two prayer requests to God. Have you ever prayed like this? It says, "Give me neither poverty nor riches." Neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, "Who is the Lord?" Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God. So there is a special temptation to the rich and a special temptation to the poor. If you have a lot of money, there's a particular spiritual temptation you will face. If you have not enough money, if you have a lack of money, there's a specific spiritual attack coming your way. And that's what this wisdom is all about. The temptation to the wealthy is described as being full and then denying God and saying, "Who is the Lord?" I believe what's intended by this is to say that the rich person or the wealthy person, the person who has no financial lack in their life, that they just tend to forget God. They're not having these daily reminders of their need for God, their dependence upon God to provide for them, even though God is the one providing, but they forget that He is. And so they're like, "I don't need God. Who is the Lord?" So then the spiritual priorities shift and they move behind them. This is what Jesus called the deceitfulness of riches in Matthew 13:22. And that it causes a person to be unfruitful and their life spiritually to be unfruitful. So there's the danger for the rich is that you just forget God. You no longer prioritize your spiritual needs, and you're no longer seeking the Lord in your life because you feel like you've got it all figured out, or you're doing okay. It seems like sometimes it's not until we're in pain or lack that we seek the Lord. Don't fall into this if you're the rich. Now, if you're poor and you have lack, there's a totally different kind of temptation that comes your way, and it's the temptation to steal or cheat or find an ungodly way of meeting your financial needs. That's why this proverb says, "Lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God." See, even if you are poor, even if you are lacking, this doesn't excuse ungodly behavior to get the things that you think you need. And man, this is why, in some cases, crime is so high in areas and neighborhoods where poverty is also very high, because with poorness and poverty comes an increased temptation to sin in this area, to find excuses, to pat yourself on the back when you do something wrong because you need it and they don't, or whatever the excuse is. So if you're poor, please do not use your poverty as an excuse for sin. Honor the name of God even in that poverty. And if you're rich, don't be a fool and deny the Lord. You might be meeting your physical needs daily, but that doesn't mean that your spiritual needs are being met, or the godliness in your life is sound because you have wealth, or that your family is going well or good because you can buy and purchase lots of things and impress the world with your wealth. That's just, don't forget the Lord. That's the idea. Wealth does not create godliness. Since we're targeting biblical wisdom, I want to make sure that we don't take this wisdom the wrong way. Is the Bible here saying that poverty or wealth is morally wrong, or that you're in sin if you have too little money or too much? No, absolutely not. It's just letting us know about the temptations that will come with those particular situations in life so that you can guard yourself against it. Ultimately, we want to become like Paul the Apostle in Philippians, where he says, "I know how to get along with humble means. I also know how to live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having abundance and suffering need. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me." So that the focus is upon God, and that's how you can get through any of these situations. You keep your spiritual priorities straight. And so let's not miss the wisdom of Proverbs chapter 30. More important than your money situation is your spiritual situation and your godliness and your character and your walk with God. That is the number one priority. The bucket list of the wise is, "Lord, let me never depart from my faithfulness and trust and commitment to you, and let not my life situation with the temptations it brings, let that not lead me astray." What a humble and beautiful prayer.
Bible Thinker.